The wait between trailers is over, and the cycle has restarted once again. We now have the title and release date of the next Zelda game, Tears of the Kingdom. As usual, I'll be going over the new trailer with a fine-tooth comb while sprinkling in a bit of speculation. Let's get into it. The trailer opens with a close-up of a stone wall with a mysterious figure carved into it. At first glance, the individual seems a little off. What nearly look like ears are far too long to be that of a Hylian or any other known race in Breath of the Wild. However, the eyes and hair look to be that of a woman. I believe that this piece here is a headdress worn during ceremonies or rituals. The side profile given of this person at the end of the trailer makes it look even more likely. Now I'll give you my thoughts on who this might be. One I thought of was the Guardians from Skyward Sword, though I don't think they fit the bill. Another option is a new character related to the Zonai and the green hand attached to Link. It could also be the goddess Hylia, which is who I think this is. Moving on from here, we get a rather dark depiction of a battle between what look to be Hylian soldiers and hordes of monsters. Under the monsters is malice that seems to be moving as they push forward into enemy territory. The etching could either be of the fight that occurred 10,000 years ago with Calamity Ganon, or one that predates that, going as far back as Ganondorf before he became the Calamity. Next is another image of the figure shown in the first part of the trailer, except this time the camera is further back, showing off more of the wall. The person is standing on a floating platform with mountains representing the surface below them. To the left is another floating platform with a tower that looks like it could be one of the scrap Zonai towers from Breath of the Wild. To the structure's right is ancient text that desperately needs deciphering. If you have a lead on this, please let me know by connecting with me on Twitter. The camera pans up and reveals 7 swirls floating above the figure's head. Do I even need to say it at this point? These do indeed look like Zonai swirls. They also look like a rough depiction of the green droplets or tears shown in the E3 2021 trailer. Either way, what these 7 swirls represent is yet to be known. They could be referencing the 7 sages of Hyrule, conceivably 7 dungeons that we must cleanse, or perhaps they are actual tears that we must collect like in Skyward Sword and Twilight Princess, using them to purify Link and the Master Sword from the malice that has corrupted them. That could explain what Link was doing in the last teaser trailer with the Master Sword and that golden light. So many possibilities. What do you think? After that comes a scary image of a woman being raised into the air with malice reaching up from under her. If I had to guess, I would say this is an ancient Princess Zelda. Come to think of it, this scene reminds me of what happened to Skyward Sword Zelda. When Girahim captured her, he took her into the past and conducted a dark ritual that began to strip her soul from her body, feeding it to demise so he could regain his proper form. The detail they gave to her eyes in this etching is chilling. It's almost as if she's on the brink of death. Over to the right of Zelda is another figure I can't make out. At first I thought it was a person from the beginning of the trailer, but after looking at the side profile from the title scene, I think this might be someone else. Ganondorf or one of his minions comes to mind because the princess doesn't look very comfortable. The next shot is one of Zelda touching hands with the entity seen previously. A symbol of their duality, 2 sides of the same coin, hence the reason I think this is Hylia. Above Zelda are 2 swirl symbols in the middle of an orb radiating light from its center. Behind Zelda to the right is more text, and beyond that is another tower. We'll get a better view of this later when we get to the title. Let's move on to our boy. The first scene of Link begins with him opening a giant door like the good old days. On the door is a large carving of a 2-headed dragon that's similar to the Zonai dragon statues found on the surface. Does this prove the Zonai's involvement in Tears of the Kingdom? Judging by the dragon, the logo for the game, and everything else that has pointed to them thus far, I believe it might. Zooming in, you can see that all along the side of the dragon is more ancient text, and above the dragon's head are circular carvings. Directly in front of Link is an eye-shaped handle with decorative etchings that span the lip of the door. It's hard to tell whether this is script or just a design like the ones found on Zonai architecture. When Link pushes open the door, we are welcomed by the golden light of the Sky Isles. As he begins to run, we can make out a bridge that has dragon statues on either side, and beyond that is a torii gate. I'm curious if this is the entrance to one of those large buildings we've seen scattered throughout the sky, and Link is exiting it. Possibly a dungeon or an entry to a different section of the sky area. I would presume the former to be true. The next part of the trailer suggests just that, as the video cuts to a different shot when changing perspectives to hide whatever Link was coming out of. The following part of the trailer shows Link doesn't have a building directly behind him anymore. Instead, he has one off to our left and some clouds moving in from the back. Here we get a decent look at Link's new champion's tunic, bow, shield, and sword seen in previous trailers. Though there is one new thing I'd like to point out here. What is that on Link's hip? This gadget is in the same location Link would normally holster the Sheikah Slate. Scrubbing forward gives us a closer look at this thing. It's about the size of the Sheikah Slate with 8 slots for what look to be vials to fit into. Upgrades, anyone? The vials are filled with a green substance, possibly the energy that Link's right arm produces. I could see this device functioning as a power source for the Gauntlet's abilities, like reversing time and things of that nature, replacing the Sheikah Slate for Link entirely. You gotta love seeing new items. I can't wait to see how this thing functions. Enough on the new object, let's persist. From here, the camera whips around to reveal more aisles. In front of Link past the edge is a better look at one of those dungeons/shrines seen before. Zooming in to see some of the other islands displays how littered with structures these things are. Sadly, most of them are too far off to make out clearly, but I've highlighted a few that stood out to me. One is this platform near the dungeon. Another is a column sticking out from this set of islands. It looks sort of like the ones depicted earlier in the carvings. Another is this weird object poking out from behind this island. I'm not sure if this is the wing of a giant bird or simply another floating platform. You tell me, what do you think this is? Last are the spikes protruding from the bottoms of the islands, possibly keeping them suspended in the air. Following Link takes us off the edge, showing off those patents, with Link diving down to the surface. He starts with a forward dive, putting him into a high velocity fall, and after a moment he levels out into a flat falling orientation just like Skyward Sword. Beautiful. From here, the trailer skips to Link in the Faron region, using his new rewind ability on a rock that I assume fell from the sky. The nice thing about this part of the trailer is that we can match it up with what it looks like in Breath of the Wild versus Tears of the Kingdom. Comparing the two reveal a couple of things. One is the hole that is now opened up here. Because of the black and white effect given off by Link's ability, it's hard to make out, but when comparing it to Breath of the Wild, it's clear this is brand new. I'm very interested to see where this opening leads. The other thing to notice is a little further up. Once Link has jumped on the rock and started his ascent, you can see another stone that has fallen to the surface, maybe functioning the same way the one Link is currently on. The comparison isn't really helpful from this point, so let's keep going. The camera continues to follow Link as he rides a rock into the heavens. From here, we can see a storm forming around some islands to the left. Lightning strikes as Link continues to move upwards. It's crazy to think we'll have to deal with the rain while exploring the sky, not to mention lightning. That new prosthetic better come with some anti-slip rubber coating or something. Going back to the rock, I think this is a really creative way to travel between the sections of Hyrule. Before we change scenery, we get a glimpse of a new enemy on the way up. Getting closer for a better view shows that it's a bat-like creature, perhaps a morphed Keese or even a Vyre. Regardless, it's nice to see a new enemy. Following that, the trailer goes to a shot of Link in his new green outfit rocking a primitive axe as he climbs the roots of a tree hanging off a platform in the sky. It's snowing here, showing that we will be facing the elements even in the heavens. Below Link to the right are some more structures, what could be a bridge or a log, and beside Link is a waterfall poking out of the side of the island he's climbing. Continuing brings us to the last scene of Link. This is another section we can use to compare Breath of the Wild to Tears of the Kingdom. Link falls to the surface above the Tanagar Canyon near the Kaytalathegreat bridge. This is a terrific vantage point as we can gather some information about Hyrule and what has changed. Flipping between the two, it's clear that Death Mountain has become active again, and quite honestly, it looks comparable to the malice from under the castle, as if the volcano is spewing malice from its vent rather than lava. You can't even see smoke or ash coming from it like it was when Vah Rudania was active. What has Ganondorf done? Of course, we have more sky islands in the background. It's cool to see large sections of them spread across all of Hyrule like this. Death Mountain has a couple of small islands visible from here, and to the right of that, more span out above central Hyrule all the way to Faron. Below Link is where things get even more intriguing. On the left, it looks like Lindor's Brow has a new fort or tower installation on top of it. Also, the lake where Ridgeland Tower once stood is left empty, further proving that all Sheikah tech has gone dormant, including all the shrines and divine beasts, which are nowhere to be found in this clip. We get to see a different angle of Hyrule Castle floating in the air via Malice, and beyond that, checking in on the Great Deku Tree, it still looks as if he's missing in action. I wonder where they put him. Hyrule Castle Town ruins seem to be in a similar condition to that of Breath of the Wild, and the same goes for most of what I can see here. Closer to Link, near the castle, is this massive geoglyph. It looks like an owl from this angle, but I'll be honest, I don't know what the heck this thing is. Continuing the trailer, Link proceeds to fall until he swiftly lands on the back of a sizable glider that he then crouches down on, enjoying the gorgeous view of the Gerudo Highlands. I'm curious if this glider acts like a loft wing, where the player can call upon it at any moment and land on it, taking you further than your standard glider, or if this thing has a set path that it takes throughout the day and you must time your landings appropriately. Still, it's one of the best parts of this trailer. I can't wait to soar over Hyrule. With the glider's design, it looks like it comes from the same people that created the structures in the sky. Whether that be the Zonai or some other tribe that lives in the heavens, we'll find out soon enough. Looking at the surface once more, I'd like to point out a few things before we carry on. Right down here, just below Link near the Tabantha Bridge stable, is one of those swirling portals that can be used to jump to the lands above. Something insignificant I noticed was one of the windmills in the Tanagar Canyon has been destroyed. Luckily, the rest of them have held in there. Another thing that's changed here is this chunk of rubble that probably fell onto the ridge beyond the stable. I bet this stone can be utilized with the time rewind ability to get to the same place as the portal I mentioned. The last point of interest would have to be the geoglyph that has suddenly appeared on this plateau. Again, I don't know what these things are or what they could even do. But this one does look like the carvings of either Hylia or Princess Zelda from earlier in the trailer. You know what? Why don't we talk about it in the comments below? I would love to hear your thoughts. From here, a green two-headed dragon swirls into place and Link fades away, revealing the final backdrop of the trailer and the official title of the game, The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. I know, the title's still a bit fresh. I'm sure it will grow on everyone similar to Breath of the Wild. The main thing that we've all been clamoring for is the name of the game, and now we have it. What do you think it could mean? Does something tragic befall Hyrule? Hylia forbid the princess die? Or maybe it's a bit more on the nose, referencing tears of light that we will find in-game. Perhaps a little bit of both. It sure is going to be fun piecing this all together in the months to come. Oh, and I can't forget the major change to the Master Sword in the new logo. Where the sword was once broken, a new green blade protrudes. I'm thinking this, like many things in Tears of the Kingdom, has to do with Link's gauntlet. Similar to Link's hand being replaced, so too will the end of the Blade of Evil's Bane. This could be what Link is shown doing in the last teaser, placing the blade into one of these 7 tiers to repair himself and the blade from the damage Ganondorf caused. Something else I noticed is a two-headed dragon could be referencing an Ouroboros symbol, which is often portrayed as a serpent or sometimes a dragon eating its tail. This symbol is known to illustrate a cycle of life, death, and rebirth, perhaps nodding to the cycle of good and evil throughout the Zelda timeline. Seeing as I already talked about the mysterious person and Zelda in this carving, I guess that's the end of today's analysis. All that's left is the release date, May 12th, 2023, which is pretty solid. It gives us plenty of time to learn more about Tears of the Kingdom. Thank you all so much for watching. Please let me know if I missed anything below and I'll try to add it to the pinned comment. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Have a fantastic rest of your week, everyone. RMFH out.